Meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Invocation by UCC.
Good evening. I'm Reverend Matt Richards. I'm a pastor at Congregational UCC Church. Let us be in a spirit of prayer. Good and gracious God, Scripture reminds us that only you are good, only you are holy. And we give you thanks for your guidance this night. Having come through an election season, we are fully focused on the good works that you have before us, the tasks of serving this community. Let us work for the common good of the people here in Mitchell, South Dakota. Amen.
Thank you. Roll call.
Bless you.
Barrington.
Here.
Allen.
Here.
Charts. Smith. Sabers.
Here.
Rice.
Here.
Dosher. McCardle.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Approval of consent agenda items. Items appearing on the consent agenda may be removed by a council member for discussion at the beginning of the formal agenda items. Is there anything you wish to remove? We do have on there a number of volunteer board reappointments and appointments. This gets us fairly well caught up. I think there's a few others we still have to address before the end of July, perhaps, or the first part of the spring. Some of the Corn Palace ones aren't on here because they won't take effect until the end of September. And just a reminder, I will be making some changes to some of the council appointments to committees. So if you don't like any that you're on or you want to change, I shouldn't say don't like any, y'all love them all, I know. But if you want to make any changes, you better let me know before the July meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Allen, second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion?
Michelle, can we talk about the sales tax collection?
Sure. Okay, first and second penny sales tax through the end of May is up 8.71% over the same period last year. So through May. And then third penny is up 11.90% through the end of May as well over last year.
Can you compare it to the year before, maybe, before?
Just as a point of comparison, I think that this is kind of a nice one to look at. Once we started comparing the biweekly collections, so this is through May, right? Am I on the right line? Okay. So that's through receipts that we've received through May 20th from the state. So keep in mind that that could be 6 weeks prior, or 6 weeks before that time even for them. So when you look on mine here, for third penny, 2021 versus 2020, right under 11%. But then compared to 2019, we're still above. We're still 4.6% above 2019. And then for first and second penny, we are 8% and 8.2%. Through those collection timeframes, and some of those are adjusted as Michelle makes adjustments too, but still we're up where we were from 2019 as well. And then you also have, again, I'm really sorry. I think the part that was interesting to me to look at is that when you look at how much we normally collect in second quarter, we're already, at or where we normally are for second quarter collections, and we still have 1 month left to collect for second quarter. So I think we're doing really strong on first and second penny. Third penny is a little bit less, but even at 148 for 2 months out of the second quarter, we're still right where we were some of the previous years without having that third month collected. So overall, I think it's looking really good so far, as long as nothing crazy happens.
I think we are seeing increased tourism, right, Doug? Come through the Corn Palace? That's a yes? Okay.
The last 2 weeks have been about 15 to 18% above 2019, and of course, hundreds of percent above last year. But yes, lots of activity in the Corn Palace and the community.
Yeah, there's people all over the place.
Well, hopefully they're having lunch and supper and breakfast here, and that will help, so. Okay, anything else? Anybody in the audience wish to address this? The consent agenda? Okay, roll call, please.
Tarks.
Aye.
Sabers.
Aye.
Rice.
Aye.
Dosher. McCardle.
Aye.
Barrington.
Aye.
Allen.
Aye.
Motion carries. Citizens input. If you need to address the mayor and members of council on an item that was not on the agenda, excluding personnel items, please come forward to the podium, state your name and your concern. Presentations are limited to 3 minutes. Items to be considered, but no action be taken at this time. Does anybody wish to address council? You'll both get a chance, so.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. My name is Mike Valley. I'm Vice Chair of the Friends of the Fire Steel. And Joe Kippis, who is the chair and couldn't make it here tonight, he and I were just visiting this afternoon. And I got thinking, you know, we're getting pretty close to where you guys are starting to look at budgets. And we just are wondering what's being contemplated for Lake Mitchell next year. We know that the preliminary engineering report is due somewhere around January, and we'd assume that there'd be a continuation of that work. And I'm wondering if there are other items and what departments that will be under. So those are my questions.
We've actually created a lake line item now.
It's going to be a little bit different next year. We're going to be moving the lake expenses into its own special revenue fund so that we can track that separately from, well, not into its own fund, it's a park and rec fund, but it's its own account. So we can separate that from the water account. Our budget process this year is different, Mike, because state law changes as of July 1st. It gives the city more flexibility in when they're adopting their budget. So we actually don't have to have our budget finalized till November. Mm-hmm. The reason why that's advantageous for cities is that 73% of our overall revenue for general operations comes from sales tax. And when you're trying to predict next year's budget versus off of 3 or 4 months revenue that's received, it's very hard to predict what's going to happen for the rest of the year. So council won't really get into that budget process until September, October. You'll see that the subsidy applications, I already actually have a news release going out this week. It should be posted by the end of this week. The applications start July 6th, and they will go through August 6th. I believe it's a Friday at 5 o'clock. So we won't even be accepting those subsidy applications till the end of August.
Applications, I don't understand.
Applications for funding. Anyone who's requested funding from the city in the past goes through that application process.
Okay, that's what you're talking about.
You're right. Normally, we would have already done an information release on this, but the council is going to be considering an ordinance at the first meeting in July changing those timelines. And it'll just give them the ability to make better decisions based on more accurate, real information that we have on revenue.
Okay.
We're also having a lot of discussions with other entities to try and find a big sum of money. So
Yeah,
I'm not willing to talk about those yet.
No, I'm aware. But what I was just wondering, what type of things are you looking at putting in the budget for next year for the lake? And
Yeah, at this point, those discussions haven't started because we haven't started the budget. Yep.
okay, and is it part of then Parks and Rec, or is it the Lake Committee, or how's that going to be now?
No, it's its own. It's a lake. It's a lake
own
line
budget.
item.
Yeah,
It's
and
its
that will
own-
be council's direction as to
Right.
what goes into that budget, not an individual. It's not going to be, Park and Rec board approving what that request is. That'll come through council for approval.
Okay.
It's kind of under my guidance, I guess, if you want to put it that way now. So
So I can come talk to you then.
you can. I don't mean we have any more money.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, who else wanted to talk?
Hey everybody, my name is Stephen Beisman. I'm not actually from Mitchell, but I am in an industry as a consultant that you guys have dealt with early this month. So I do apologize for my late arrival. It looks like you guys have already adopted ordinances for the cannabis industry. I'm not here to change those. I'm not here to condemn anyone for anything. I'm actually here to give you accolades. You are some of the first responders. There's a lot of communities that are dragging their feet, and you guys have adopted early, so I do commend you for that. The only other thing I'm here to do is to offer you guys a couple of business cards. I do work very closely with the nice lady that drafted IM 26 for any legal advice or interpretations of the law or anything like that. She is always willing to consult with cities and counties on a free basis. And then the local chapter, our commercial association, his card also is available, and he's the executive director of the CIASD, so he can also give some commercial insight. I'll just go ahead and leave him up here.
Give him this to you. Yep, thank you.
And if there's anything that we can do, just go ahead and reach out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to address council? Okay. Board of Adjustment, entertain a motion for city council recess and sit as the Board of Adjustment.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Rice, second by Mr. Starks. You gotta be quick tonight. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Hearing and action on application of Justin Adams for variance, 1021 University. Justin Adams has applied for front yard variance of 20 feet versus 25 feet is required to remove an existing garage and replace it with a new one at 1021 University, legally described as Lot 5, Block 11, and east half vacated lot, or excuse me, alley abutting Lot 5, University District, City, Mitchell, Davis County, South Dakota, property zone R2, single family. Mr. Schrader, we don't have Mr. Putnam anymore. Who's going to speak to this?
Mr. Mayor, Council, as Mayor said, this is for a front yard variance of 20 feet versus 25 feet. Planning Commission did recommend approval 6-1. With that, we'll open up to any questions.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Mr. Allen, second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address this one? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Hearing and action on application for Muller Lumber for a variance 722-724 West Pine. Muller Lumber has applied for a backyard variance of 20 feet versus 25 feet is required to build a twin home at 722 and 724 Pine, legally described at Lot 3 in the west 38 feet of Lot 4, Block 6, MLC Addition, a subdivision of Lot 4A and 4B, Block 4, Morning View Addition, City of Mitchell, Davis County, South Dakota. Property is zoned PD, Plan Development District. Mr. Schrader.
Mr. Mayor, Council, again, this is for a backyard variance of 20 feet versus 25 feet. Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Mr. McCardle, second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? All those in favor, anybody in the audience wish to address this one? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to set the date for Board of Adjustment hearing 7/6/21. Ethan Co-op has applied on behalf of LifeQuest for a side yard corner lot variance of 9 feet versus 20 feet as required to construct an addition at 100 East Elm, legally described as Lot 7, 8, 9, and 10, Block 11, Van Epps First Edition, City of Mitchell, Davis County, South Dakota. Property zone R3, medium density residential. Mr. Schrader, you want to say anything about this?
I do not.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Rice, second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address this? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Reconvene the City Council. Entertain a motion from the Board of Adjustment to adjourn the City Council, reconvene regular session. Motion by Mr. Rice. We slowed down on this, folks. What's up? Second by Mrs. Charks. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Hearings and action on the following alcohol licenses. On the application of the National Exchange Club of Mitchell for a special event retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota Farm wine license located at Cadwell Park for August 4th through August 15th, 2021 for the state amateur baseball tournament.
Mayor and Council, Mike Koster, Chief Police Department. We have no opposition to this, and staff recommends approval.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Mr. McCardle, second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Is there anybody in the audience wishes to address this? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. An application to transfer RB-2846 retail on-off sale malt beverage South Dakota Farm wine license from Sport Time Inc. doing business as Scoreboard Sports Bar, 522 North Main Street, Mitchell, to Bradley Team LLC doing business as Scoreboard, 522 North Main, Mitchell.
Mayor and Council, again, Chief of the Police Department, we have no objection to this, and staff recommends approval.
Motion by Mr. Sabers, second by Mr. Rice. Further discussion?
Are they here? I'd like to ask some questions before them.
Mr. Bradley is a new groom, and so he and his wife are not here. No. He's probably going to shoot you when he sings. Okay. Yes, congratulations to them. So they intended to be here, but they had a previous commitment for a wedding, so they're not. So congratulations to them. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address this one? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. An application to transfer RW6509 retail on-off sale wine and cider license from Sport Time Inc. doing business as Scoreboard Sports Bar, 522 North Main Street, Mitchell, to Bradley Theme LLC doing business as Scoreboard, 522 North Main Street, Mitchell.
Mayor and Council, Police Department again has no opposition to this and recommends approval.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Mr. Allen, second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address this? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve 2021 contingency funds for artificial turf at Drake Field. Mr. Powell, as you know, we had put out a thing with Mitchell, or we had been requested to put turf on Drake Field. I'm going to preempt this for you, Mr. Powell. Mr. Powell went out and talked to the entities that use the field. They come up with what was 50% of the cost, and the price has risen every time they've gone back for a new price. So the idea is to get something set. So Mr. Powell, explain to us what's going on.
Yep, I'll give you a background on the artificial turf, Mayor, Council. Thank you. In 2019, the DW and Mitchell Baseball came to the board and asked for artificial turf for Drake Field. They want to make those improvements. Jeremy can kind of go over the benefits of artificial turf here in a second. At the time, the board asked that we go out and raise 50% of the funds for the project. And at that time, we were looking at a total project cost of $318,000. We've since raised about $175,000 in pledged funds. In March, that went to $336,000. In June, that went to $354,000. And today, we're at $374,000. So we're trying to lock in a price, and we're still at the $175,000 raised. At $374,000, half of that would be where did I have the amount there? Would be 187. So we're still about 13,000 short from where we are today. In addition, we would like to do an arc on the, I don't know if you want to pull up that picture, Stephanie. I don't know if that was submitted with it or. Yeah, that was. And Jeremy can get into the details about that arc on the outside edge. So the donations are for the turf itself, but we're looking at maintenance issues and adding a little bit extra strip for where the players would stand so they don't wear into the grass there. That would also be artificial turf. And then we also want to replace the backstop fencing. That's the highlighted in blue along the outside edge there. It needs replacement, and I'll let Jeremy also answer any questions with that. And we're also looking at a time frame issue, as we can pretty much only have this done in the fall, and we can lock them in now and have it done this fall. If not, we would need to wait till next year. Our other quotes right now are between $475,000 and $675,000. So we don't quite know where it's going to wind up a year from now. but we're trying to get this on your table and let you decide what direction you'd like us to go. I'll open up for questions, and Jeremy can talk about specifics on artificial turf.
Nate, can you give
Yeah.
the updated dollar amount? You said this is no longer correct, the $391,816,
Yeah.
that's the current amount?
So the current amount is $411,158. That's $374,158 for the turf, $11,000 for the infield arc, and then $26,000 for the backstop and fencing.
And then I just wanted to make sure, because this is a contingency request, that everybody's aware that the city would be paying for that full amount up front out of contingency, because the rest of this is pledged to be paid over a period of time up to 7 years. So the city fronts that, and then it would be paid back.
And I can actually give you the details on that. So this year, we'd probably be able to get a upfront commitment of about $36,000 of that, and then another $36,000 next year. We'll be at $140,000 fully paid within 4 years, and then $155,000 fully paid in 5, and then the $175,000 by the 7th year. So most of it's coming right up front.
And so I just need to make sure that you're aware that the information I would have included in the packet on the current contingency wouldn't be correct. The other thing that was not included was the emergency repair that we had to do for the Corn Palace HVAC. So I just want to make sure everyone's looking at the right information. Your remaining contingency would be, I have no idea, somebody else can read it. Thank you. And that's only if we had to use this full 250, right, which right now our revenue is on schedule, so that's looking really positive.
I think the 250 is safe. I think we're good at the 250.
We do have one other project that we're working on. We don't have final quotes for, and that's the rec center remodel. And we're just a little concerned that one's going to be high, but we can maybe adjust the project at that. So.
I think it's
Well, you don't have any contingency for it, so.
Yeah.
when we got organizations that want to pay for half of a improvement to a field for the city, I mean, I commend them. It's I was out on Drake earlier this year. You know, it gets used. Wesleyan and the Colonels, they scoop snow to get on it. They're on it before the grass gets to mature. They're tearing it up before grass even gets to grow, so it's going to be bad spots. So the turf takes care of that. The other thing, 2 years ago when we had wet and they had it up north, Augustana Sioux Falls was getting the North Dakota schools coming down, renting their fields, staying there 2-3 days, playing games down in Sioux Falls. They were bringing the income into the city. It was because they couldn't play in North Dakota and they got artificial turf. And I mean, I just think it's a no-brainer. As much as Drake gets used, Jeremy will be able to answer the you know, as far as when they start. I know they scoop snow, and I'm assuming 100% of their practices are on Drake.
For Dakota Wesleyan, yeah, they're scooping snow. You get on it as soon as
Say
they
who
can.
you are so that
Sorry,
people
Jeremy
watch.
Nielsen,
Thank
Sports
you.
Complex Supervisor. Right now, this week we got 4 doubleheaders, 4 teams practicing per day. And then in the fall, we get a little break of maybe a week, and Wesleyan is back there. That's their fall season with 50 to 60 kids for 6 to 7 weeks into October.
So they're tearing it up before it gets going. And the other thing is the state amateur, they play a full day. They play 3 games of state tournament competition on that field. So it's not just a teener field like it was 30 years ago, 20 years ago. You know, so we're sitting there bringing double A. Their A plays out there. The big towns play. There are 3 games on Friday. I think it's 3 games in Jackal. And, you know, if we can, Mitchell's known as the baseball capital of South Dakota, and we need to stick some money into it. It brings a lot of revenue to town, and I think it's a great deal, especially when they're paying for half.
One of the questions I have, I don't know if it's necessarily for Nathan or for Jeremy or for Mitchell Baseball, that's here actually out sitting down. The design that we're looking at doing, because I'm not a baseball person, so the question I have is the design that we're looking at doing, investing in this field to this big number, are we doing everything we need to do, or are we cutting ourselves short in some areas, or is this is this sort of the design that is perfect to do for 2021 kind of attitude? I just don't want to get into a lot of investment of funds and have something that we're cutting ourselves short. Are we doing this right from what you guys know in the baseball industry, I guess?
If the bullpens are included, which they are with the half, the arc is included too, we'll definitely need backstop, fencing to block off so no one can just walk in, and some backstop padding because of the new block, split face block backstop. I mean, we could do the outfield too.
Have you penciled out, Jeremy, how many dollars?
A little bit.
How many dollars you'll save on maintenance as far as dragging, chalking?
About $7,000 a year. But we could also use that for time and money at Cadwell, the softball fields, the soccer fields. But for the infield on Drake is around $7,000 a year.
Jeremy, can you explain this arc? The picture doesn't really tell me anything. What is it for?
So there, from home plate, there's a 95-foot regulation to the outfield grass. I want to go 6 feet back because, especially college players, but the older kids that play on Drake, they stand on the grass and then move up. So we're constantly have lip problems, resodding. No. It's the same as the turf. It just extends 6 more feet.
If you see the brown,
off of the 95-foot regulation.
what he's talking about with the arc is that light green color out there, which is where a lot of the infielders will stand.
That's just more turf.
It's exactly the same as the infield, just
Okay.
extend a little bit. Yep.
So I'm a little bit surprised that we're doing this because I love how you guys mow it currently and give it great designs. Will there be some way to do that kind of a thing with the turf, or is it just like, nope, we're done?
We can get 2 colors of green on the infield so it would look striped.
Okay.
It looked like it mowed.
This field doesn't look as nice as the other field to the east because it gets used so much. The infield is really worn and needs a lot of work.
It does, and the main thing is you could do work to it, but you got to have teams stay off it for 2-3 weeks so it can heal. But there's no time for that.
He can make the outfield look like that, though.
Yeah.
Jeremy or Nathan, do either of you guys know of any health concerns of playing on artificial turf?
Not that I've
The
heard
reason I
of.
ask is it seems to me in the past I've read something about exposure to makeup.
Yeah, is this a crumb rubber infield?
Rubber and sand, but it will mostly be, or more of sand. More of the rubber is for impact for like football.
I think we're for most football related.
The crumb rubber information talks about heat stress, injury, infection, and latex and chemical exposure, and especially latex allergy for people playing on it if they have that from the rubber compound material.
I was not aware of that. It is more sand than rubber for baseball infields.
The way I see it, it seems like it goes up about $10,000 a month. What we've
More
done-
than that.
Huh?
Yeah.
No, in the last 4 months, it's gone up to $40,000.
$40,000.
So just remind me, I think you said it, but I missed it. The first, I know we're looking at a 7-year payoff, but can you give us a little bit of a breakdown of that, like what you expect in year 1, year 2?
Yep, so year 1, this year, I'm assuming they're going to pay their first payment right up front. It would be $36,000, just over. Next year, and it'll be 36 for the first 3 years, and then it'll go to 31, then 15 for 2 years, and then 4,300 for the last year.
Move approved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Allen, second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience want to address this? Metro Baseball, there's your chance. Jim, you're never quiet.
I think I seen Dean. I think I seen Dean Sadler out there too. He loves to talk.
Don't screw it up, Jacko.
All right. Anybody else? So nobody else wants to address this? Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Action to approve Agreement A 2021-30, FAA Airport Coronavirus Response Grant Program. Grant offer is number 346037030 in the amount of $23,000 and authorize mayor's signatory on all documents. Mr. Johnson, you want to say something to this?
I don't have much to say. I think Joe might be able to give you a couple of the details of prospective uses for that grant money. I'm excited to get the council's approval so I can stop getting FAA notifications about signing.
Yeah, they've sent a lot of them. Motion by Mrs. Charks.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rice. Further discussion. This is the one that Mr. Croce was talking about before he left with the boiler stuff that we were doing out at the snow removal equipment hangar. Yeah, yes. So, I know some of it's earmarked. I don't know if all of it's earmarked for that. Do you know, Joe?
It is all earmarked, yes.
Okay. All right. So that's what that
will be used.
But it has to be approved by council so everybody can sign it. Okay. We have a motion to second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve Agreement A 2021-31 Financial Assistance Agreement, CRRSA Act with South Dakota Department of Transportation. Authorize the mayor's signatory on all documents. Motion by Mr. Rice, second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion? Okay. Anybody in the audience wish to address this one? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve Agreement A 2021-32 lead remediation at 223 North Main with Floor Tech Cleaning and Restoration.
Mr. Mayor, Council, the city had a lead and asbestos survey done at the 223rd North Main building as part of an environmental assessment, just to see where everything was at in the building. There was asbestos, but the immediate attention is the lead. We currently have a contractor in there working on windows, and that report said it is not safe for him to be in there without the proper protection equipment. So with that, we looked out to contractors for the lead remediation. Our first goal is to remove the dust, so we are going to vacuum the site. I believe the initial estimates we received were around $120,000, $130,000 to do full lead remediation, but we're just going to focus on the dust for now so we can get our contractor back in there working on the windows. The low bid was received by Floor Tech Cleaning and Restoration of $21,801.96. Of that, we believe half of that can be covered by our Deadwood grant. So with that, we recommend approval to Floor Tech Cleaning and Restoration.
Joe, is most of that lead in the paint? Or, I mean, you're saying the dust. I've been up there, there's a lot of dust. But is it from the paint or?
So there were past businesses in there that possibly put off this dust throughout the building. There is lead paint in there, obviously, but that's still in a solid form, so it's not as susceptible to people working in there as the dust is.
I'll move approval of Floor Tech Cleaning and Restoration.
Motion by Mrs. Charks.
Second.
Second by Mr. Rice. Further discussion?
I'm not sure I would dust that whole place for $21,000, so I think that was a good deal.
All those in favor? Well, anybody in the audience wish to address this? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve Resolution R 2021-40, a plat of Lot 5C, Block 7 of Westwood, First Edition, Subdivision, Southwest Quarter, Section 16, Township 103 North, Range 60 West of the 5th Prime Meridian, City of Mitchell, Davis County, South Dakota.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Planning Commission did recommend approval of the plat.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. McCardle. Second by Mr. Allen. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address this? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve Resolution R 2021-41, a plat of lots 8 and 10 of Park Acres, First Edition of Northwest Quarter, Section 6, Township 103 North, Range 60 West of the 5th Prime Meridian, Davis County, South Dakota. Mr. Schrader.
Again, Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval.
Motion by Mr. Barrington. Second by Mr. McCarl. Further discussion? It's just outside. Correct. We go out 3 miles. Okay? We'd be happy to move it into city limits. Anybody in the audience wish to address this? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve Resolution R 2021-42, amending Resolution R 2020-82, the 2021 compensation plan for the City of Mitchell. Ms. Elway?
Mayor and council members, in your packet is a copy of the resolution that will do 2 things. First of all, it is eliminating our previous city engineer position and our public works director position and creating 2 new positions. The public works director / city engineer, combining those other 2 into 1, and then also an engineer 1 position at a lower grade. This resolution is necessary prior to the appointment that's listed later on in the agenda. The reorganization, I believe I did state in the staff report, also shows a savings to the city as well, and we believe there'll be efficient operations having those positions combined into 1.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Rice. Second by Mrs. Stark. Well, you 2 are busy tonight. Further discussion? Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to address this? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve Resolution R 2021-43, approving the settlement agreement for the 223 North Main property. Oh, we've all been waiting for this one. Mr. Johnson.
I don't know if anybody's been waiting more than me. So I guess I'll try to keep things real short. This will bring an end to the longstanding dispute regarding the Crafty Fox building. The result will be various parties paying money to the city, and then the city paying off the remaining mortgages that are outstanding. That'll allow the property to no longer be encumbered by any of those. Should allow further redevelopment from there. I guess I don't know that it's a settlement that anybody was real happy with, but you know, they say that the best settlement is one where everybody thinks they lost. So
easy for you to say.
And I'll open it up for any questions if there are any.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Rice, second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address this? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve Resolution R 2021-45, vacation of Marshall Street right-of-way south of Birch Avenue. Schrader.
Mr. Mayor, Council, the Phoenix community and Fred Shank own the property adjacent to the right-of-way. They have petitioned to vacate the right-of-way. You can see in the aerial there are encroachments within that right-of-way. This will kind of clean that area up, the street. Doesn't go anywhere. Directly to the south of there is Dry Run Creek. We really don't see any future need for that street. Planning Commission did approve to vacate 6-1, and Public Works does recommend vacating. There are no city utilities. Any private utilities will be made.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Allen, second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address this one? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Action to approve Resolution R 2021-46, amending the City of Mitchell water and sewer rates and fees.
Mayor and council members, included in your packet is a resolution that will amend the current water and sewer rates. It's important to point out that this is not going to change any fees that customers are currently paying. In the last rate resolution that council approved, the 2 effective dates in May, this was supposed to be listed as 311, and there was incorrect number listed there, so we never implemented the incorrect number. We've kept it at the $3.11. Really, the only change is adding the additional surcharges that are enacted due to bond financing on the SRF projects. Those are East Central Drainage Phase 2 and then the daily drive lift station. Both of these are required as part of our SRF financing package that we have for the city of Mitchell. It's required for us to have.
So to be clear, the only people that will see an increase are those people who are paying their...
Nobody will see an increase.
No.
Actually, the city of Mitchell does our surcharges a little bit different because we take those out of the revenue. That we basically set our fees and our rates, and then once we've received the revenue, we segregate out a portion of that revenue and set it aside based on the surcharges established. So the cost people that are paying is not going up. We're just specifically taking part of our revenue and setting it aside for that debt service.
It's where we're taking our money.
Yep, it's what we're doing with it, yes, basically.
And really, all we did was we had the wrong numbers showing.
Yeah,
We
this
did
number-
not implement the change higher than it should have been. It was showing higher than what we really were taking, so we're just moving it back to where it should have been shown, and we're not increasing anybody's rate.
You will see at least one more resolution like this, adding another 2 SRF projects that were included in the rates you already implemented. So you will see as they get closer to, I'm going to say the wrong ones, Joe, the wastewater treatment plant and the water storage facility. Are those the 2 that we're working on now?
Correct.
Yeah. So at some point when those get closer to finalization, we'll have to come back again and amend this to incorporate additional surcharges within the rates established for the projects that you've already reviewed. There may be additional to add at that time, but I'm just letting you know this isn't the only time you're going to see this. And I can answer any other questions that you want to have.
Entertain a motion.
Approval of 2021-46.
Motion by Mr. Rice,
Second.
second by Mr. Allen. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address this? All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Second reading of ordinance O 2020-109, rezoning lot A3 sub of lot A, southwest quarter, section 27, 10360. Except the south 128 feet thereof, City of Mitchell, Davis County, South Dakota, 201 and 201.5 East Norway Avenue from TWC to R4. Mr. Schrader.
Mr. Mayor, Council, this property was formerly a vet center, and they are wanting to include multifamily living within that building. I believe it's fourplex. With that, we'll open up to any questions.
This is where Mr. Heesen used to, or Dr. Heesen used to have his vet practice, and he's now wanting to make a pet-friendly apartment. Cape Haven, yeah. This is second reading.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Barrington, second by Mr. Rice. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience want to address it? All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Motion to adopt.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Rice, second by Mr. McCardle. I don't know who I heard. Closing. Okay. Second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address it? Roll call.
Sabers. Rice. Dosher. McCardle.
Aye.
Barrington.
Aye.
Allen.
Aye.
Sharp.
Aye.
Motion carries. Recommendation by Mayor Bob Everson to appoint Joe Schrader to the Public Works City Engineer position effective June 27, 2021. What we have done is reorganize the Public Works Division, and I'm proposing Mr. Schrader be made the Public Works Director in that position / City Engineer, which is what he's doing currently. He's done a good job for us so far since Mr. Croce left, and I'm looking forward to putting him in that position and having him continue to perform well.
let's make this clear with what we did earlier and what he does now. He currently is an employee. Just to make sure we understand it.
He is. We need a motion.
I'll recommend that Mayor Everson
Motion by Mr. McCardle,
Second.
second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Anybody in the audience wish to address this? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Mr. Schrader, you'll stand and raise your hand and repeat after me. I, Joe Schrader, having been appointed to the office of Public Works Director, City Engineer, within and for the City of Mitchell, Davis County, South Dakota, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, Constitution of the State of South Dakota, and the ordinance of said City of Mitchell, and that I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, perform all the duties of the office of Public Works Director, City Engineer. Thank you. Come on up. Welcome aboard. Unless you don't want any money for this job. We're adjourned.